Oh, and welcome back to Rongmar. Today, we are going to be taking a look at the topic of climate change. Our WALT for today is to identify some of the causes of climate change, but also to consider some of the reasons why people don't believe in climate change. The world we live in is an incredible place, and the things humans have done on this earth are quite incredible too. From the vast and sweltering deserts of the world, to the icy, cold and snowy tundra, from the most remote, hidden cave in the darkest, deepest jungles, to the sprawling megacities across the world. However, our wonderful Earth is not doing so well these days, and it appears as though it might be our fault. Take a look at this little clip.
What is climate change? When we use a car, the engine makes a gas called CO2. The CO2 comes out of the exhaust pipe and floats up into the air. Because lots of people use cars, lots of CO2 is going up into the air. When we leave the TV or the lights on, that uses electricity. Electricity comes from a power station, and that makes lots of CO2. Aeroplanes make even more CO2 than cars. There is so much CO2 in the air that it's covering us like a big blanket.
This blanket of CO2 can make the air too hot.
This is called climate change. Sometimes the heat causes drought, when there's not enough rain and all the plants die. Sometimes the hot air makes great big storms called cyclones. Storms make big waves that smash up coral reefs.
The heat can warm up the sea, causing the corals to lose their colour and die, and the fish to go away.
How can we protect animals, plants and beautiful places like the Great Barrier Reef? Let's go back to the start. There are lots of things we can do to make less CO2. We can cycle or walk to places instead of going in the car. We can make sure we switch off the TV and lights when we're not in the room. We can travel by bus instead of flying. If we make less CO2, we can help make the Great Barrier Reef a safe and happy home for all the animals and plants.
Climate change is the single biggest challenge facing humanity. Let's see how much you know about climate change. True or false? The planet is getting hotter. The average temperature has increased by nearly 1 degree over the last 150 years. The answer is true. An increase of 1 degree might not sound like much, but it is enough to be having a huge effect on nature, the environment, and all living things. True or false? The temperature is rising because of the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is increasing. The answer is true. Carbon dioxide is a gas that traps heat from the sun in the Earth's atmosphere. This stops it from bouncing off into space and warms up the Earth. Fill in the missing word. Rising temperatures are making the polar ice caps something more quickly than ever. The answer is melt. Rising temperatures are making the polar ice caps melt more quickly than ever. True or false? The oceans absorb some of the trapped heat and carbon dioxide gas. The answer is true. The oceans are becoming warmer and more acidic because of this. So now that you know this, what effects do you think all of this is having on the oceans? Pause the video, write down 2 things you think might be happening. We are still learning the full effects of climate change on the oceans, but one of the damaging effects we can definitely see is coral bleaching. These delicate coral reefs are damaged by the rising water temperatures and the levels of acidity caused by carbon dioxide. Take a look at the list below. Some of these are effects of climate change. Some of them are not. See if you can sort the ones that are effects from the ones that are not. Pause the video and have a go. How did you get on? These green boxes are all effects of climate change. Now, one very interesting and hugely important thing to understand about climate change is that virtually all scientists agree that climate change is being caused by humans. There is overwhelming evidence that it is a man-made problem. Why, then, do you think that some people don't believe in climate change? Why do some people choose not to take action on climate change? Pause the video and see if you can write down one reason why people might not believe this or might not want to act. Here are a few reasons why people don't act or don't believe. Some people are not aware of the evidence for man-made climate change. Some religious leaders tell their followers that climate change is not happening because they believe it goes against their religious texts. A lot of big companies are causing pollution and climate change. Some business leaders say that climate change isn't real, so that they can continue their business activities and continue to make lots of money. Another reason is that there is a lot of bad information about climate change available online. Some people read this false information and believe it. And finally, some people believe that climate change occurs naturally, that it isn't man-made. Is the biggest issue affecting the whole planet and all living things. It is important that we all take action on climate change. So today we'll be thinking more about why some people don't believe in climate change, and we will try to think of some persuasive evidence and persuasive arguments that could change their minds. That's all for today. Until next time, take care.